Now, in addition to this, I also wanted to spend some time talking about how we route incidents. We talked earlier about service requests and basically routing based off workload of my team. That doesn't always work when it comes to incidents. Instead, I want to have specific subject matter experts that are on tap anytime we have a critical issue with the service. Fortunately, as part of the Jira Service Management suite of solutions, we also include ops tuning, which is being steadily folded into the Jira Service Management platform. So what that means is, as native to the platform, I now gain an on-call schedule where I can basically define how do I want to manage critical incidents that come in for my critical services. So as we see here, I've got multiple schedules based off my different applications. And for each of those, I can go drill in further into Opsgenie itself and define how do I want this path to work. So I can first define my on-call schedules, who's going to be available on rotation. And then I can also define escalation policies. So if those people do not respond quickly enough, who do we reach out to next? If they don't resolve it within a time period, who do we reach out to beyond that? So I can have multiple layers of escalations, all defined through my escalation rules. Highly useful to help us make sure that we are responding to issues quickly and effectively. Now, in addition to these on-call schedules, I also leverage the Opsgenie platform to ingest alerts from my monitoring and management tools. So what does that mean? I simply add an integration. And as we see here, there's quite a laundry list of monitoring and management tools that we have pre-built connectors for to ingest alerts or notifications to help us accelerate generating that incident faster, reacting to that outage faster, and resolving it more effectively. Okay. So all of these are available within the platform, and simply all I have to do is choose the integration that I want to leverage. And in many cases, we'll have direct instructions right up at the top of what needs to be performed on the other solution to facilitate that integration, and then define your settings here, and we're off to the races. Now, as part of the Opsgenie platform, we also have a mobile application with some great notifications to help wake up people at the dead of night if we do have issues that they need to respond to. Okay. So that just helps me accelerate my response to incidents much more effectively. Now, let's imagine for a moment that incident has now been resolved. That may not be the end of our activities. As we close out a given major incident, if you've got some post activities that need to be performed, we can simply add in a post-incident review and manage those activities of identifying what was the root cause in this particular issue. So if I go into my post-incident reviews, and we'll take a look at that, this just gives us a nice process for documenting what was the root cause, what were our services, did we identify a workaround over the course of this. Now, as part of this same activity, I can also take that opportunity to expand on our knowledge base. So maybe we identify a workaround that we want to make sure users are aware of. Just directly within the JSM platform, I can go create a new article, leverage our templates within Confluence, and I get a rich experience to document that new finding in a way that's much more readable for our users. Additionally, as part of the JSM platform, we also have the ability to do problem management as well. So if we do follow that particular ITIL practice to identify how to prevent issues moving forward, we can follow those workflows in the platform as well. Now, that's just the out of the box. You also have the ability to define your own workflows within the platform as well. So what I mean by that, let's take a look at just how easy it is to configure this particular platform. So within each project, if I have sufficient privileges as a project manager, I have the ability to come down to my project settings and customize the experience for my team. So what that means is, for one, I can actually just turn off specific features for this particular project. So if I've got a team that is just doing service requests, I can simply just turn off incident management for that particular team. What I can also do in that same scenario is define my service catalog through request types. So in request types, I simply define what are the offerings we want to make available either through the self-service portal or for my engineers. And it's a simple 3-step process. I start by defining a request type. So maybe this is going to be a new iPad. We'll use that as an example. We can, from there, define what kind of workflow we're going to use as a template for this. And we can organize those into basically categories within the self-service portal to help my customers navigate those. So I may include this as part of my common requests group. From here, it's a simple 3-step wizard. The first part is the request form, which is basically what my users are going to experience through the self-service portal. So what are the fields we want to capture up front to make sure that we're able to accelerate our fulfillment of this particular ticket? And very easy to do. I've got my fields over on the right-hand side. So I simply just drag and drop those into my form. There we go. And as I add these into the ticket, I do have the ability to give them an override name. I can also define if this is required before the user can submit that particular form. At any point, as I'm building out this request, if I save it, I have the ability to go preview it in the self-service portal to see what that experience looks like for my end users. Now, a couple of notes comparing this with Cherwell. So one, if we think about the process of defining a new service catalog offering within Cherwell, that involves going to table management, going to incident category and subcategory and stubbing out the entry. Then I would have to go to the admin client to define my specifics forms, publish that blueprint, and then come in and associate that particular specific form to that incident subcategory. So just those 4 steps have been taken care of with this one form within the platform. What you'll also notice is I don't have to have specific XY coordinates for all of my fields. We do adaptive layouts for everything. So what that means is I've got a rich mobile experience that I don't have to redesign for my users. It also means that as we perform updates that may impact the UI of the platform, we're not breaking your forms or workflows. Now, after defining that request form, we then go to the issue view. So this is the view that my agents are going to see when a ticket comes in. And we've got the core fields here, which would be the main area of the tickets. We also have context fields, which is basically the sidebar of the service request. And I can determine what tasks, what fields do we want to add in, simply drag and drop. And we've defined what our agents are going to see as part of these tickets. The last step in defining those service requests is the workflow. And I can come into a visual editor for those workflows. And let me make sure I'm in the edit mode. And it's a simple drag and drop experience to define your workflows. So what that means is if I wanted to add an option here, let's imagine we wanted to add a approval process as part of this. I simply add a status and let me do awaiting approval as this new status. We'll add that in and we see here's our new approval block. And from here, I simply just drag the connectors to determine where this lives within the lifecycle of that ticket. And for each of those, we can define a transition that will map over any automation activities that need to be performed as part of it. If I want to make this particular step an approval requirement, I simply do check off the include approval step. From here, I determine what's the number of approvals needed to consider this to be approved. And where do we find the approver? So I can actually have just a field that has like the manager of the user or approvers where we determine for that particular issue who we should be reaching out to for approval. So very easy to define approvals directly within the system and also very easy to define your workflow exactly the way you would like it to look. At any point within this workflow, I can kick off automations to send out notifications or communicate via Slack or kick off third-party integrations like REST calls to automate some of these activities as well. All of it done without the need to write any kind of code.